to the Astro Show for February 28th, 2007. My name is Overton, astrologer in Florida, and I come to you every day, but boy, it's going to get warm today. I think it's going to be in like the 80s. And so sometimes it just doesn't pay to even getting yourself ready for the show 15 to 20 minutes in advance. It's still giving me trouble. So I'm trying to open my Astrology, and my computer has so many other applications that I am down a little bit. So I'm going to be working on that while I do you. And on top of it, I lost my 2016 ephemera. 2017 ephemeris disappeared, and I don't even use it anywhere other than within 10 feet of myself in this one room. And I have no clue where it's at. I've looked under everything, in everything, on every surface in my house, and it's not there. So I think I have someone playing tricks with me. So I am currently trying to open the program, and then I also went to get the ephemeris online, and even that's giving me a difficult time. So we are still experiencing this wonderful Mars-Uranus conjunction. So have you happened to see the Oscars? That actually, it was funny because I watched the news in the morning, and on Good Morning America, I watch that sometimes, and it was basically saying, I think it was evening news. It was reviewing a day like the 26th, which had everything happen. It had new moon eclipse. It had Mars joining Uranus, and so the evening of the next day, I think it was Monday night news, they were saying, "Oh, it's a real busy," and I was just going, "Of course it is, because we've all these events happen." And the majority of people don't pay attention to astrology, but there was the evidence. We had troubles. I even heard that there were some issues. Emma Stone. So she got the wrong envelope. So I just thought it would be interesting that she was even saying she didn't get the correct envelope. So those of you, Dunaway kind of took over and just announced live, and everyone got up on stage, and then of course 3 minutes later, 3 speeds in, they realized that it was the wrong winner, and a stage manager came on with his little headset and thing and said, "Oh, that's wrong." And so there was all this hubbub and chaos, and ultimately figured out that it was Moonlight that won, and awkward minute or two then it all worked out. So they got up on stage and accepted the Oscar for me, and it goes in annals as being one of the more memorable mess-ups on others. So yeah, I just have to, I'm closing with and opening applications and everything here while I'm talking. So I'm trying to get some of the more large memory hogs on my computer so that I have the memory. And yes, I was going to get a new computer, and I still am going to get a new one. I just have to look at ways to get it. Probably will be into Taurus, which is possessions, and that I didn't want joining up with Uranus. It was doing this week, and so I wanted to get it under something that's more supportive of having a new item and having it last a long time. Mars, and so that's going to be at the end of the month, actually March. So it'll probably be another month if I can handle it. Otherwise, I might have moon day to buy it. But to what I was saying, so I was reading the nightly news, and ended up that they were this snow covered the country, which last week, if you listened to this, discussing the storms and everything that Uranus rules, which is electrical outages, storms, lightning, things like that. Very severe inclement weather. And so, we had all that going on as well. And I haven't even looked at the news to see if that's hit. I know that there were tornadoes across, I want to say North Carolina or Mississippi, in Alabama, somewhere in that area. I saw there was some severe damage done. And then, of course, what's going on nationally is also kind of strange and chaotic right now. But I'm just going to talk to you for a quick second here. I'm quitting out of my last application that I could possibly quit out of so that my astrology program will open up, because, Google Chrome is a very large memory hog. And so it kind of slows everything down. I have it open, which is the program I'm using. And then I'm also uploading my YouTube show a couple weeks ago. So anyway, by little, we're going to get there. I've got the ephemeris. And, yay, huzzah. It said, I went into my force quit window, and it said, interpreter, which is my program, not responding. And I'm like, well, I know my computer, and if I just wait long enough, I'll pop up. And sure enough, it is. So I'm able to now get in the sky. Yeah, I know. I mean, you would think Astro actually is ruled by Uranus, which of course is in the crosshairs again. But Uranus also rules electronics. So usually people who are interested in astrology are also really tech-oriented, or at least attracted to that, because there is a commonality of ruler. But and I am interested. I mean, I've had my own computer and I do all my own stuff. Have for almost 30 years. 1994 was when I got, no, even earlier than that. I take it back. Got my first computer in 86, 87. So, and I got on the internet in 94 and had my Mac ever since about 87. So I know a lot about Mac, about PC. But anyway, we have the astrology. So please hold on, stay with me. So I'm just going to read it as it is here in Orlando, because normally I set it to the natural chart, which puts Aries on the horizon. But today I just called it up because I was so happy to get it. So here it is. We have a Gemini in Orlando right now on the horizon. And so that puts Moon, Venus, Uranus, and Mars all up in the sky and just past the sun. So they're all in Aries. We've got Moon at 6 degrees, Venus at 12 degrees Aries, about to retrograde at 13, Uranus at 22, and Mars is now past Uranus at 23 and 12 minutes. So what does that mean? That means that Mars is, he is coming and approaching trine to Saturn. So there will be a certain amount, he is approaching a direct hit of the degree, which is 26. Saturn's at 26 Sagittarius. Mars is at 23. So he's got about 3 degrees before he's pretty much doing whatever the hell he wants until he gets into Taurus. So he will have some responsibilities and ownership coming up. There is going to probably be, and interestingly, I was going to say there's probably going to be another passing of a well-known male. There may still be, and this one will either potentially be in the emergency field or sports or a musician. And those are the areas that are ruled by Aries and Sagittarius. And with Mars trining, what happens is the energy is, a trine is a positive energy, but there seems to be a lot of times a transition energy or some event that is undesirable before you get the culmination of the more positive energy of that trine at 120. So I believe Bill Paxton passing was also part and parcel of that same energy of Uranus in trine to Saturn in Sagittarius. And then Mars was the male energy. But again, Mars is directly hitting Sagittarius in the next couple days. And now that I have an ephemeris open, yay, I can when that's going to be. So I'm very excited about that. Let's see. Well, not excited to tell you someone may be passing, but I'm excited to tell you that I now know what they look for. March is when actually in trine. So, okay, so we've also got Sun at Pisces. Mercury is now in Pisces at and Neptune is at 11. Mercury retrograde fairly well in a month and a half. Thankfully, a month of March without a retrograde. Okay. But Mercury goes retrograde at 4 degrees Taurus on the 10th of April, and then it retrogrades all the way back to 24 degrees of Aries on the 4th of May. So 24 degrees of Aries is where we see anything after. Hold on. Did I just say 24 or 4? I swear. Retrogrades at 4 Taurus and retrogrades back to 24 Aries. So when Mercury gets to 24 Aries, which is, I've got it right here, 20 February. So from which just happened. I take it back. I'm sorry, that was Aquarius. I was in the wrong month. It's actually the 28th of March. This is why I need my other little ephemera, because it really lays it out in a different way. Every day shows the different planets, and it's the Llewellyn's Daily Ephemeris Planner. And it's a really awesome book. I get it every year. I've got probably a decade worth of them. But if you're interested in getting anything about astrology and having the right information day to day, it's a really great just site book that I use all the time, and I'm very annoyed that I cannot find it. So anyway, on the 28th of March, we have Mercury at his point of no return, so to speak. At that point, you're going to find, you'll go back over some of this energy. But I was thinking that's why I brought it up. But anyway, so Mercury's at 4 degrees Pisces right now, and he's moving towards the sun. So there's going to be this deep intuitive energy coming into our world, and especially because the sun's eking closer and closer to Neptune. There's a 1 degree difference and almost conjunction with the sun to Neptune today. So definitely making those dreams come true and probably feeling tired. And part of that is because when we sleep, we expand the connection to spirit. Spirit is able to talk to us more easily when we're asleep, and we can bring in that information that we pretty much ignore for the material world when we're awake. And it's kind of like a reset, but we got that energy right there, able to access it when we're asleep. So if the planet is going through Pisces, we may feel a little more drained, a little more ready for a nap or some sleep. And so an energy where you may feel the real thing, so you'll see something but it won't register. And that's because Mercury, I can tell you because my daughter has it. I'm very familiar with this energy. It's more about an intuitive connection to things. You know, it's not really someone who's going to speak a lot. So when it's all of us, we're more inclined to stay quiet and be more meditative, interact, and how we talk to people. As it comes up on the sun, and pretty much I would say almost every other sign, with the exception, no, probably even ego in Aquarius. Most other signs, the ego is more pronounced in specific ways, but in Pisces is the one sign of the zodiac that really seems to be without an ego for the most part. They get along with almost everybody. They're very accepting of everyone, and that's their positive nature, the positive side of Pisces. They tend to sit back and allow things to come to them, so they're not really proactive. They don't go out and grab it and make it theirs. People with Pisces can also have Venus in Aries or Mercury in Aries. I have a friend who just had a baby this past week also, and so her little boy has planets in Pisces and planets in Aries. So there's going to be this combination of laid back on certain things and egoless, but also a strong physical drive that comes with Aries. And also the intellect of an Aries with Uranus in Aries, which is much more needing to be part of a whole picture and connect to people. Emergency workers can have a strong energy in Aries, and police and, ambulance drivers and emergency room nurses, things like that. So we've got the combination right now in the sky. Okay, let's see what else we have. Jupiter at 22 Libra, directly opposite Mars in Aries, in 1 degree. So we still have Jupiter opposing Uranus, which still has not come up to the exact square, or opposition with Jupiter. Let me see. I'm going to have to calculate it. So if you can, I apologize, but give me a second here to calculate 21, 24. So to that degree at 20, no, I said, yeah, 22. Sorry. I'm talking about 22 different, if you're wondering. So that'll be the 4th and 5th of Mars exact position. So really for the next week, we still have this Jupiter Uranus opposition. And to me, because there's retrograde and Uranus is in Aries, it's probably one international opinion, international infighting. Jupiter is foreign culture, so there's this, and it can also be local, national, but it's of people with different minds. And Uranus in Aries is definitely, I want to be free. Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to take action on it, especially with Mars right next to Uranus. Venus is also representing women in this, so this is a very strong time of human rights around gender. And then Jupiter in Libra can also be the strong energy around relationships and partnerships, having a difference of, I had a bit of that past week, but Pluto in Capricorn is saying, okay, guys, and just picture the adult with 2 fighting children in either hand with their hands on the head of either children who are going at it, trying to keep them apart. That's what's going on. There is an authority or systematic fulcrum, center point, and the faction to one side, all the Aries planets, Moon, Venus, Mars, and Uranus, they're all in Aries, getting very ticked off or having tantrums. And I have to admit, my daughter, the Aries, had a tantrum this morning because she couldn't wear the shirt she wanted to wear. So, you're going to feel that probably more with the fire signs. They're very affected right now. And then Libra wants to keep the peace, but it's not feeling it. It's not able to do it right now for us. And again, Jupiter retrograde in Libra is bringing the energy of going back over relationships. And Venus retrogrades on the 4th. So she and Jupiter are both discussing where the relationship is. And it looks, because of the energy, it looks like there is a separation energy. There is a pulling back. Venus was coming up on a direct confrontation to Jupiter. Then she's going back, and she's still in Aries, but she's going to pull her energy back. She's going to be really uncomfortable. Not only is she not comfortable in Aries, because Aries is the energy of the masculine, so it's like she's trying to exert herself in a masculine format, but she is intuitive and not action-oriented usually. So she's been acting out emotionally. That's the tantrum. Moon in Aries, again, kind of similar story. Moon is the nurturer, Moon's the feminine, Moon's the mother. In Aries, she's going to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more assertive, and less willing to just take it. And she can be more connected to children and the energy of newborn babies because of that Aries energy, which represents the infant and the new energy coming in. But Venus and the Moon are joining up today in a few hours. So Moon at 6 degrees Aries, Venus at 12. So this afternoon, the Moon and Venus will be very strong. And so that means that in the news, there's probably going to be something about a mother or an angry mother. That's probably more accurate, is the angry mother, because there's also semi-squares going on between these planets and Mercury and Aries. So Venus, Uranus, Mars in semi-square to Mercury, and the Sun joining Neptune. So that is like an idealistic mindset. It's wanting things to be a certain way and then trying to act out on them. There's subconscious things going on. There's also on a national stage, there are going to be things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, and just know that it's going on, that there are hidden agendas and hidden discussions going on that we have not heard from yet. But of course, when the Sun and Mercury get to Aries, it will all come out. And of course, the Sun gets to Aries on the 20th of March. Oh, well, according to this chart, it's the 21st, but it actually usually goes in the afternoon on the 20th. And then, Mercury gets into Aries on the 14th of March. So 2 weeks from now, there should be some interesting stuff coming to light from what's been going on behind the scenes. And then, let's see. So Pluto's at Capricorn at 18. Like I said, he's squaring Uranus and Venus, also Mars, in 5-degree wider orb of passing. Like Uranus and Mars are leaving the exact square, but he's also 4 degrees past an exact square to Jupiter, but Jupiter's heading towards him because he's retrograde. So we're still feeling that Jupiter-Pluto energy. Again, big stuff around cooperation with foreign cultures and foreign countries. So anyway, there you go for that. And it's getting a little late, so I want to quickly get to some of the information about Venus retrograde. And I kind of touched on it last week. If you listen, you know, I've been actually spent a lot of time with the Venus show talking about, you know, how Venus affects us in our charts. But Venus retrograde means that she is pulling her energy back and getting more contemplative and, you know, meditative. She is rethinking the actions she took in the first 12 degrees of the sign. So let's see, she went into Aries on February 4th. So the majority of what's gone on in February is what she'll be going back over, how she's starting to take action on her desires. So she also rules money, she rules love, she rules the arts, music, beauty industry, fashion, anything like that. So yeah, you're going to see pulling back of energy. And of course, Venus in Aries, Venus is the stock market, and Aries is probably similar to Taurus. Taurus can be more reserved when it comes to money. Aries probably excites the bull in the bull market, which means taking more action and being very excited. Venus retrograding coming up on the 4th of March is probably going to be a slowdown. And I know March is when there's a quarter profit sharing or whatever. I'm not the person to talk to about finances or anything or the market, but I can tell you certain things, and that, you know, the reports are coming in, and it'll probably slow down. So there will be reports that things haven't necessarily gone the way they wanted. And I think some of the stock market activity is going to slow down until Venus gets direct again. And then that's in April 15th, tax day. And then she goes forward again and gets back to the degree she retrograded at, which is 13. And by then it'll be the 19th of May. So it's a pretty long amount of time, almost 3 months of Venus energy and money energy going on. So really what it is it's also love. And so you take all these things into account and look at what's going on in your love life, look what's going on in your finances. And, you know, there's going to be a period of reevaluation. There's going to be a period of like, okay, I took action. I really had the hit to take action, which is not, it's fair. It's not wrong. It's just, this is what you were doing. It's what you were called to do. That's what the planets do. They incline you to take action in certain directions and, you know, have behaviors align with that particular archetype. So Venus in Aries is about sales. It's about buying and purchasing and emergencies. And it's about the market. So the marketplace and goods of the marketplace. So when Venus goes retrograde, she's going to have glitches in where things are. I think I mentioned last week when she goes retrograde, I know somebody who's moving product from one place to another, inventory. So that will be really good for that kind of activity because it's about doing it over. It's about redoing something. And I have a little online business called dottedsky.com, and it's something that I've been putting some energy into about, it's my art business basically, and I'm creating some products for that. So I've been doing that this week, and I really hope I don't have to redo something because I actually just started doing it. But, you know, this is the other thing, and you want to pay attention to, if you study astrology, pay attention to when things happen according to what is coming, because I'm so in tune with most of these astrological aspects, I've noticed that most of them hit me about 5 days before it actually happens. So whenever there's an event coming, it'll start to happen. Like I had candles, I had to redo them because I used the wrong colorant. I used crayons, and that doesn't work because it doesn't burn. So I had to redo all the candles I had done, and it's like 12 pounds of wax I bought to do those. I'm not kidding you. So I'm redoing them. That's what you're going to come up against with Venus retrograde. If you've had a deep discussion with the partner and came to some type of conclusion about where that relationship was, you're going to relive some of that. And I had a client recently who did have an event, and so that person will come back into your environment and back into your life for kind of a last goodbye and a last culmination of the relationship that you've had. Let's see. Yeah, so Venus gets, I wanted to say, I'm telling you, you're channeling information when you cannot remember what you said, because that means that you're bringing it in from a higher source, and higher source doesn't have time and doesn't retain things. It just goes from one idea to another. So if you can't retain anything, it's very Piscean, and it's also very spiritual, very connected to spirit and information that's coming through. And I couldn't retain what I just said about Venus retrograding, how far she retrogrades back all the way to, I want to say 26 Pisces. There you go. So she won't get quite all the way back to Neptune, but she is going to be at the end degrees of the end sign of the zodiac, which means endings. So if you know somebody who may have pulled through some situation, just be prepared that that energy is really at its end. And it could be houses, it could be cars, it could be whatever you experienced not going the way it should or how you want it to. We've got to go and wrap up some final emotional energy around those issues when Venus gets back into Pisces. So she retrogrades, like I said, on the 4th, and she gets back into Pisces on the 4th of April. That can't be right. Really? Nope, that's true. Okay, so she's at 13, and then she retrogrades back into Pisces on April 4th. She goes direct on the 15th of April, and then she gets back into Aries on the 29th of April. So most of April is going to be the month of going back over some ending story that we've had. Okay. That's Venus retrograde, and I fully expect that the callers I talk to are probably going to have some questions about it. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll get back and take some calls, because that's what we like to do. And welcome back. My name is Shelley Overton. I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy show on Blog Talk Radio. If you would like to get a hold of me for a personal private reading, you can get a couple different options over on astrologerangel.com. You can do a mini reading, which is a budget-minded reading for 20-25 minutes. I'll do a shorter reading, and it's a little less expensive. But you know, the full reading, you get everything and more. You get your whole chart read. You get all the new stuff coming in. You get any questions answered, which you also get, with the mini reading. You just don't get as much of my time, which kind of makes it a very quick reading because, it's like being on the air now. You hear how much stuff comes through and how fast I talk. So I really try and give you the most bang for your buck. And then also with the full reading, you can get it recorded. And actually both readings I record, and then I'll send you the MP3 within 24 hours. So you have it to listen to over and over again. And, if you want, you can do that. And let's see what else. Oh, okay. So when I was on break, I remembered that Venus rules purchasing things and shopping and goods. And I wanted to remind you that you've got to watch that timeline about purchasing during a retrograde, because when it's retrograde or even in the shadow period, which I think we are now. Let's see. Venus at March. No, we're in February 13. No, actually on March 2nd is really when it goes into the shadow period. No, I take it back. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at this ephemeris in a different way, so it's like not registering because it's not my open book, but it goes to 26. So since the 30th of January, we've been in the shadow period. So anything between now and May 19th, when it's out of the shadow, is going to be questionable purchase time because of the Venus connection to goods. So I'm just giving you a heads up, like cars and computers, not purchasing a computer. So at least I hope I can make it that long on my computer. And the other thing was that the end of May, so what's going to happen is Venus will join up with the degree, because remember, Mars and Uranus joined up this past Sunday at 22 degrees. Mars continues on his path, and Uranus will be there moving forward. So at 22 degrees, when Venus actually joins up with where Mars and Uranus were, because they were coming together, and then she went backwards. She said, I forgot my purse in the house. And so she's going backwards to go take care of some of those things. When she gets back, she's going to be at that space, that same vibration, that same energy, and bring that sense of desire towards some of the energy. So there's going to be probably some issues coming back up that were associated with what happened this past Sunday on the 29th of May, and then through until she catches back up with Uranus, because remember, Mars was already there. He flew by, and now she's finally getting up, and she'll be catching up to him on the 26 degrees. And let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. She won't catch up until she's 26 degrees, and that's the 3rd of June. So between the 29th of May and the 3rd of June, Venus is going to be kicking up some unexpected things. Let's just put it that way. We'll look closer at it when that time comes. Okay, so let's go on to the phone lines and take some calls. 203. Hi, 203. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, who's this? I can.
It's Amy from Connecticut.
Oh, hi, Amy from Connecticut. Have you called before?
I have, and every time I tried to call, I think I had a mattress delivered one day, and I had to shut off, and then I forget what I had a feeling. I said, I think I'm going to get in today.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, you're actually my first caller.
I called
wonderful.
early. I called about 10 of. I said, let me call early and see if I can get in.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. So real quick, give me your birth information, then you can tell me after you give me that while I'm working on it. You can tell me what you'd like to know about. But what day were you born?
April 6th, 1975.
Okay. And what time?
4:16 a.m.
Okay. And where were you born?
Derby, Connecticut.
That E-R-B-Y?
D-E-R-B-Y, yep.
Okay, great. I just didn't want to spell no, it's D-U-R-B-Y. Okay, wonderful. And what can I do for you today?
Well, I was just curious, like what you see in my chart. We've talked about moving, and I also just feel like there's this big shift I'm going through, even emotionally. I don't know if it's the time of my life.
No, it's huge.
Or...
Well, Neptune's in your first house, so you have an 18-degree Aquarius rising, and you have the moon at 17 degrees in the 12th house. So that's kind of like really strong. This is an interesting energy. I'm just going to touch on it real quick because the moon is your mother, and in Aquarius, the moon can be detached. There can be some detachment from mom, and because you were born, like you came into this earth when the moon was right there on the horizon, there was some kind of emotional detachment, whether you, like my son has the same thing, and you know, he had to be in an incubator for 5 weeks, so I couldn't stay with him. So there was that disconnection from mom at birth, and you have that kind of same energy, and it can be an emotional detachment or an intellectual detachment, or you know, she's an unusual person or maybe eccentric or something like that going on. I just wanted to give that to you because it's really prominent in your chart. And then you also have Mars at 25 degrees Aquarius in the first house, which means that there's a huge drive to be your own person. And that may also factor into mom and the dynamic with mom in your life. Right after that, you have Pisces in the first house up into 24 degrees. So you have the last hang on a second, I got to do my math, the last 12 degrees of Aquarius, and then you have 24 of Pisces. So you have a pretty big first house. And so it's all Pisces there, but there are no planets for you in Pisces, but you have Neptune, Mercury, and Sun right there transiting now. So that's why you're really feeling this emotional draw, this kind of emotional drain. You're starting to feel more daydreaming, kind of, you know, that foggy feeling of thinking, especially with Mercury there right now. So, yeah, I'm just looking at some other stuff. You've got a lot of stuff going, a lot of activity going on around money for you, and you have more planets in Aries than any other sign. So your second house is really active in your chart with Mercury at 3, Aries, Jupiter at 4, Sun at 15, and Chiron at 23. So all those are being triggered as well. The moon is right on your Mercury, Jupiter today, and will go across your Sun. Venus is approaching your Sun, and Uranus is within a degree of your natal Chiron. So you've got a lot of stimulation in the first 2 houses of your chart, I would say more than any place else. So it's about the self. It's about changing how you think of yourself. It's probably opening up a lot more of your intuition than you ever knew you had. Have you felt that?
Well, yes, and I actually take courses for my intuition, and I just ski one.
Awesome.
I have tarot cards. I actually
beautiful.
I've always loved astrology too, but I feel like right now it's been I've been really wanting to open my intuition and really trying to you know, I've always been, you know, I've been to readers over the years as well, and they've always said I had the gift.
You do.
But I do feel and I think that's why it affects me, the energy. Like I feel like the energy in just lately is just shifting, and sometimes I think I'm crazy. Like, you know, I said to my husband last week, I was doing housework, and he was outside, and I said, I don't know, something's not right. And speaking of my mom, she lives 2 doors down. We live on a cul-de-sac. And so for like 2 days, I was like walking around, and I'm like, something's not right. My daughter had been ice skating, so she calls, and I thought, she's 12. I thought she was crying when she called, and I said, Allie, are you okay? And she said, I'm fine. I just want to make sure you know you don't have to pick me up. And my first thing I said to her was, did you break your wrist? This is what I'm thinking. Well, the long and short of all of this whole story was, not 2 hours later, I ended up speaking with my mom, and she's the one who she had broken her wrist.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, and she had broken it 2 days before, but she didn't want to tell me.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Talk about my mother's stuff here. But what I said to my,
really connected.
I said to my husband, I said, "Is this not bizarre that I've been wondering if my daughter broke her wrist? Like I knew something was wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it, and come to find out it was my mom. You know, so I just like things like that have been happening. Like I'll get something, and then all of a sudden." it will happen. Like it's just weird, so.
Yeah, no, that's really pointedly what's going on in your chart, that you are completely tuning in. And so you're going to have an interesting early 2020s, because that's when Pluto will be right there going in your 12th house. Well, just before it, but Pluto will be transiting your 12th house for a decade, over that decade, and then it'll hit your natal moon right on the horizon, and then it's going to be like this major shift in awareness and shift of consciousness that will kind of catapult you into the next phase of your life. So, let me see. So,
you said
all
something
that.
About the... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to touch on what you had said about being an astrologer. You have Uranus, the planet Uranus, which rules astrology in Scorpio, which is a really wonderful energy for it as far as astrology, because Scorpio is the therapist. They like to get to the heart of the matter. And so you're a channeler. The Uranus energy is where we channel, where we get information that we don't, like, I just know it. How do you know? I don't know. I just know. That's where that is. And for you, Jupiter will be hitting that point in October. So Jupiter is transition of energy and expansion and change, and you're going to be, new information will come in very fast. I mean, look to October to be like a true awakening for you about a lot of information that is shifting and changing and coming in, and spiritual, and about commitment and partnership and life and death, and also that, it could be mediumship. You could be a medium as well. There's a lot of energy around that as well with that Scorpio Uranus. So it's around you. You're very lit up in your chart. A lot of water. Okay. You have Saturn in Cancer as well. So you have sign. But what were you going to say? What were you going to ask?
Well, my other question quickly, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, is
no, it's fine.
Is there anything about with us? Do you see just us moving, or like
that's right,
changing homes?
Well, Venus is in your house of the home and your environment. She's going to go retrograde. So again, she's going to hit to 20, I think I said 26 degrees, which is almost all the way out of that house. So I think that you're going to be pulling back some energy as she goes retrograde in a few days. So yes, you can move. Mars getting out of the second house could trigger something. Mars goes into Taurus, which again, Taurus rules the home and possessions. A house is a possession. But let's see when he goes in. He goes in on the 11th of March. So yeah, March changing signs also changes houses for you. So that could be like, okay, I want to sell my house. Again, you might have the desire, but I would recommend putting your house up for sale. Means you have to have a connection between you and the buyer. And I would say today would be that day, because Moon is 6 degrees away from Venus. And between the time we're talking and when she joins with Venus, that means like a quick sale. But once Venus retrogrades, again, it'll be like a couple months, and she isn't going to be going in a positive direction. So you could sell it because the moon will come around again in that time. But what happens is Venus retrograde means that you're not necessarily going to sell it for the amount you want. She's going to pull back the energy and not want to give all the money. So if you do end up selling and moving, you're going to want to do it with Venus going direct and out of the shadow period, so you know everything is on the up and up, which would be June.
Yeah, well, that's actually when we wanted to put it on the market, was in June.
Well, there you go. When the kids are out, when the kids are out of school.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have a lot to finish, but I don't know if it will happen. But
okay. I definitely can see it, because Mars goes into Cancer June 5th, and that means it's moving out of your house of home and family and into your house of creativity and children. But what happens is Mars goes out of that house. It's like, as it goes to the end degrees of a house, you're like, okay, I'm done with this energy. And then when it shifts into the new house, you're like, okay, I want to get out of here. And so right at that time, the beginning of June, definitely if you're thinking of moving, that would be something that would drive you in that direction, having Mars go into Cancer. And then on top of it, you have Mars joining up with your natal Saturn at the 19th of June. So 19th of June is when there is a change of structure or a desire to make a difference there around the home and family. So those 2 weeks probably are a really good time. If you are looking to definitely put it on the market, I would wait till after Mercury gets into Gemini. There will be multiple offers. And then also it's the same day, June 7th, between June 7th and, let's see, it says the 12th degrees. Yeah, June 7th and the 23rd of June, if you want to write those dates down. You can also listen to this show in the archives on iTunes or on my channel. So,
I always listen
to Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, can I ask you real quick how you heard about the show? I'm just curious because I never ask anybody.
Well, I stumbled upon you, I don't know, it was just maybe like 6 or 8 weeks ago. And I actually am the one, I don't know if you'll remember, it was maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I had left you a voice message and you had called me back and you said, I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Normally people email me or
yes.
And my schedule's just been so busy because I actually wanted to set up an appointment with you anyway. And
Wonderful.
I was curious if you did teach classes, like do you do anything over the phone or
I can, I can teach privately. That's fine. I would probably just talk to you off air, like privately about that, and what the fee is and everything. It's probably going to be well, it's not as much as a reading because that's a different animal. But we can talk off air about that. Definitely, I'm interested in doing that. I'm going to actually start doing more of that, and if you want to go to, because you can set up a reading at Astrologer Angel, there's a couple things on the homepage that let you actually go into planning the reading. It's a scheduler and a email connection, so you can do it there if you want to set up any time. And I will add the class, a private class to it. I've got a lot of projects going on with my astrology. I'm trying to, culminate a lot of different things I've been wanting to do. It's on the list, believe me. So anyway, if you want to just shoot me an email, we can arrange it for whichever you want to do. Okay?
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Perfect. So,
you didn't tell me. Where did you hear about the show?
Oh, so I think I was on, I went on some podcast. I went on, I was in whenever I'm cleaning the house, I try to put, I like to listen to Hay House Radio, but for some reason that day I didn't like what they had. So I don't know if I Googled astrology or something, and somehow I just stumbled upon you, and I was just really impressed. I listened to a lot of your, like you said, the archives. So,
great.
And I like how you, so I guess, I don't know.
Oh, thank you.
But you have a great show, and and every Tuesday I've been trying, so I was happy to get in today. So
well, I appreciate knowing that, and I don't really know all the time what goes on behind the scenes with people and coming and going from my show, and it's just nice every once in a while to hear how people found me and what their experience was, so I can have a clearer idea, so I can connect to more people. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was actually grateful too, because I really believe, like you had said, I with my intuition, I've also been finding what happens with me is when I meet people, within a few minutes I can tell them what sign they are. I don't even have a conversation with them. I just say, I'm like, oh, they're a Sagittarius. And my husband and I will be watching TV, and I'll say, oh, that actor is a Sagittarius, and he's like, oh, how do you know? And sure enough, I'll Google him and get their, But I've been, I'm getting pulled talent. My intuition has been pulling me back to it, and that's where my love of it all started with astrology. So I said, I think I have to go back to the basics, and so I think it was kind of synchronistic that I even stumbled across your show one day. So I was grateful for
lovely.
that. But anyway, yes, I'll shoot you an email, and I'll go on your site and set up an appointment, and then we can go from there.
Oh, I'd love to talk to you some more. You seem like a really nice person. Okay.
So do you, Shelley. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Oh, you too. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to the next caller, 817. Let's see if my computer can catch up to where I'm at. I already clicked on it, but it's going, Okay, there we go. Okay, 817.
Hi. Hi, it's Nancy. I just wanted to, first of all, agree with you that if you're going to get a review from Shelley, you just have to keep your mouth shut and let her talk. It's very well worth it.
I got to stop talking so much.
No, I need to stop talking. When I get a reading from somebody, sometimes I feel like piping in. My advice to anybody who gets a reading from you, and I highly recommend anybody should, is that they just let you talk and shut up. So because it's very good, but interrupting her, she gets debarred and goes a different direction and stuff. So anyway,
I
it's
do.
highly
I'm
worth
very
it. I've had several, and she's very well worth it. So take the time, people. She's worth it. I just wanted to
Tell
give
me
you the
again.
heads up,
You said Nancy. You said Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy, the one who was trying to move
March
the land.
29th.
Mm-hmm. And,
okay, great. I just want to make sure because I have a few people with that prefix on the phone, and I just want to make sure I heard you right. Yeah. Okay. So what did you say?
The property that we were looking at down by the river that was beautiful and all that stuff just kind of all blew up on Friday. And it turned out one of the ladies we brought there on 11/11 with us who had never met is buying it kind of out from underneath us. So it was kind of really a rude awakening. We found, no, you know what, we're totally fine with it. I believe in universal divine energy and all that. And But we found another place that we had our eyes on. And on Sunday, it was the only day we had available. We got in the car and drove 3.5 hours and went and viewed it. And we want to go for it. And I just want to make sure, I know you keep saying it's not a good time to buy. But it is working out for our negotiating strategies. We've got them down like 25,000. But
good.
Just wondering, is there a good time to avoid signing a contract? I mean, we started it Saturday, the communication. Sunday we went to see it. Put the offer in on Sunday, and
really?
And then Monday.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
so we're in the negotiating right now, but it's getting close today. Today, I would say.
Okay. What time did you go and put the offer in?
Around 5:45 on Sunday.
In the evening? Okay, so you were after the eclipse and just before the joining of Mars-Uranus, which probably will be to your favor because that's the combustion, going on with Mars and Uranus. It's like, so it's like you've got a little window of time there that you're coming together, but it will be fast. It's like within 2 months, that culmination. So I would assume you're going to probably move in fairly quickly, I would think, after you do it. Okay, so what is it you want to know about that?
Well, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a huge mistake because, like I said, it just this weekend, the eclipse, the energy was huge. It was very intense for not everybody, but I've got a lot of Aries and Pisces and all that. But it was intense, and I think it's going to work out to our advantage. This one we went down and we saw it, and there was no apprehension. The people are from New England, kind of where my husband's from, so there's a connection there, and and I heard you saying, be careful, don't buy things, and I'm like, oh no.
Again, like I said, I would do it. You're coming up on the last degree of Venus before she retrogrades, so it's something that's probably part of the negotiation because what happens is Venus is so quick. She's only 1 degree off of her retrograde, so she's at 12, then she's going to go 13, then she'll come back to 12. So if you can do it before she actually retrogrades, it's like you're just waiting for her to do the retrograde and then come back to this point, and then it'll pick up again. So you're not there's very little. It's like a quick turnaround is what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like, oh, here it is, and then you go back over it really quickly, and then it'll take a little while before you'll culminate probably, it'll take, like I said, 2 months till she gets back to that point, and then you'll go forward again. So there's going to be a period where she's not. Mm-hmm.
Well, if we sign today, we're not going to move in tomorrow. We have to go through the inspection and all that other stuff, so it's going to take time.
Signing today is okay. I mean, because the Mars-Uranus, you're kind of in quick, do it quick. It is a rather, if you had asked me before you found it, anytime Uranus is involved, you're going to have something it can be fickle, okay? So there could be like, oh, this is perfect, oh, this is wonderful. And again, because they're coming together, I would say you said you did it during the day, only 2 hours before they joined, which may mean you might not be as enamored of it fairly quickly. So you might end up moving in and going like, you know what, I want to move somewhere else very quickly.
Well, we started looking at it, like I said, at 4. I think 3:30 we were walking the property. We already decided we wanted to put an offer in. We didn't actually. We started the contract at 4:35, and then I think he probably didn't even give it to him till yesterday morning. But the agreement in our mind was Sunday at 4.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as an honest astrologer, I would tell you a few of the pitfalls. One of the pitfalls is Jupiter retrograde in Libra, which means you're going backwards somehow. And again, it's questionable about connecting in a partner. You've also got, you've got Moon joining Venus, so you're in emotional agreement, and right between the Moon and Venus today, right now, is your Sun. So the ego is connected to this as well, and so I just want you to know that it can be impulsive. All this energy in Aries is the impulsive stuff. When Venus goes back into Pisces, you're going to start to question, and I'm just telling you that because these are the energies around this situation, okay? I'm not saying it can't turn out well or it can't turn out to your benefit. I'm just telling you that because you also have Mercury approaching Sun, and there's only 6 degrees, so in 6 days, maybe 7 days, Mercury is going to be right where the Sun is. So they're going to be joining. So the mind is going to join up with the ego in the house of money and possessions. So everything there right now is all moving forward, which is good. So it's not only moving forward. It's not only moving forward, but it's also cooperative. That they're coming together. So I would definitely say, the energies are saying do it quickly. You already made the offer. It was a very quick thing. So that's what the energies are saying as well. Is like, hey, let's get it done quickly because you're going to have things shift and move backwards. So, summer, let's face it, everything's retrograde in the summer. So you're going to be going back over things that have to be taken care of. I just want to let everybody listening live know that we only have 1 minute left in the show, and I'm going to take the last caller after you.
Okay.
So just stay on the line if you want the call. And, but yeah, you've got, okay, so if you think about the day that you put that in, that is the day of all this upheaval and chaos and intensity that's embedded into the purchase. So there's a lot of, there could be electrical issues. It sounds impulsive because the Aries energy and especially Mars joining up with Uranus are very impulsive. It's more than one offer going on. There may be more than one offer because Uranus is multiples of something. So I'm guessing, so either they're getting more than one offer or you may make more than one offer on different property, but it doesn't sound like that's what you're doing right now. So just be aware that there may be another one, but then, and you may be one of the many, but Venus goes retrograde, which means the other party may pull out or you may decide to pull out or something like that. Or something may come up. I would say Venus going retrograde, you may find out something about water/electrical issues in the house.
Well, we do
and
know
I may
there's
mention
water
that to you before.
You did, and we do know there is a water issue, and that's part of what we know they're going to have to fix an area that had leaked, and there's some issues right now. We know that already, and we figured we've already been back 3 different times with different bids, so there has already been the back and forth in the last couple of days. But we do know there's water issues, and we just expect it to be picked up in the inspection, and we expect them to have to go back, and they're not going to be happy about it. But of course, after you do the inspection, ask them to fix it or take money off. So that was part of our strategy as well.
Yeah.
We know it's there. It's just
okay. There's also, I'm just letting you know on a personal level, Mercury today is at the exact degree of your Chiron. So there's something going on communication-wise. There's some kind of intuition that you're picking up, and I would recommend that you pay attention to it because it's also part of where in the past your intuition around a property, because Chiron's in the house of money and possessions, there is a very strong knowingness about possessions and properties and love and like all those things, money. You are very intuitive, but you were squelched on some level. That's like your deepest wounding, that you weren't necessarily listened to, and it's also associated with the past because you have the South Node at 6. So you've had multiple lives. Let's just put it that way: multiple lives and many feelings with not being listened to around. It can be telling somebody to take care of their health. It can be money issues. It can be property issues. You're just really in tune, and you weren't necessarily validated through that. That was your deepest wounding in your chart. So, Mercury's there right now. So there could be something coming up in discussions that is really triggering that old wound for you. Okay, and at the same time, South Node is right there at 3 degrees. So South Node's 1 degree off your Chiron and 3 degrees off your own South Node. So it's a very awakening time for you intuitively, and just pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to your dreams, and know that this is a point in your chart where you've been wounded in the past, and you may behave in a certain way because of that. And because it's the Pisces energy, you have a certain amount of unawareness, so you might just take a moment, meditate on things, and say, how am I behaving in a way that's familiar that I've done before? Okay?
Okay. Yep, that's good information. And of course, I'll look at Mark's chart and see how that compares, because obviously he may counter some of that, but it doesn't change where the planets are today in the sky. So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Again, Jupiter rules real estate transactions, and it's up there in your house of real estate, in the Sagittarius house. So it's retrograde. So I just give you cautions, and and it looks like, because you also have Vesta and Cancer in your house of partnership, which is also the buyer-seller relationship. So there's another woman, and I'm guessing there might be some woman associated with this transaction who might be giving you difficulty. So don't worry about things, because, like you said, everything will work out. But I'm just giving you some of the energy surrounding that particular.
Well, we haven't bought anything yet. We just don't want to move forward and just go, what the heck were we thinking? That was the biggest mistake we ever made, and just totally blow up our lives. But
Venus will let you know what you're interested in and in for, because I can. This is what I'm getting for you. Because of the positions, because I told last week, if you want to listen to last week's show on the Venus issues, because that's going to pertain to what's going on with you. Wherever Pisces is in your chart, that's the theme you're going through, about an old story and old dreams that you have to relive, like an echo of the last type of relationship you had that was not fulfilling for you. And for you, it's in the house of property. It's in the energy of property and possessions.
I went through that on Sunday and kind of did clear that up with the other property that we really wanted, when the woman kind of deceived us, similar to the other woman here. Remember that was, and I recognized that, and I went back and I looked at the pattern there, and I already worked with internally on that, so it was really related to that other property. I do definitely see that, and I agree with you 100% on that.
I'm just saying that as long as Venus is going retrograde, and she hasn't even gone retrograde yet, you've still got one more time through that whole endeavor. You've still got one last pass. It's kind of like, wow, it was everything we wanted again and again. But guess what? This is the time you get to change how you react to it, which changes the karma, and you can move on from there. And then it's right there waiting for you. And that's kind of how I see it. Okay?
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Let me know how it goes.
Thanks.
All right. You're welcome.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Good talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Let's take one last quick call. One quick question. Hi, who is this?
Shelley, it's Diane from California.
Hi, Diane from California. Thanks. So what can I do for you today?
Do you think I will be living with my significant other before the end of the year?
Probably in, I want to say, where did I just put my ephemeris? Oh, gosh. Hang on. Yeah, I want to say after Venus goes direct, because, again, it's the energy of wherever you find the Venus in your chart and the Venus retrograde, that's where you're experiencing it. And for you, it's in the house of commitment. So tell me again how long you've been with them.
Well, 10 years on and off.
10 years on and off. Have you had issues recently?
Zero issues. It's only been like honeymoon level. Yeah, it's really good.
Ooh, that's awesome. Okay, well, I think you do have some stuff going on. You've got Neptune transiting your house of commitment. All the Pisces planets are in your house of commitment. Mercury, Sun, and Neptune. Again, Venus goes retrograde, but it's more about where you're at. Like, for you, a lot of it is about where are we going to be? How are we going to like what is the adventuresome energy? Where is the not the creative, more the educational, spiritual side of things, because it's the ninth house. So, and it's where are we going to live? Are we going to live here? Are we going to live there? So, yeah, I think you're in alignment to make things more tangible. Even though you have Pisces in the house of commitment, everything that's going on with Venus in Pisces is in your house of higher understanding, the ninth house. So it's more about having a meeting of the minds about where you're going to be, how you're going to travel and learn and grow and be spiritual together. It's more of that energy.
Oh, boy. Yeah. But you don't see a marriage, or do you?
I don't not see a marriage. I think that it may take a little bit of time. I think that you're going to find out for sure what you want from this when Saturn joins up with Pluto. And that's going to be like 2019. It's a little ways. Let me see. It's going to be,
okay.
Yeah, it's down the way because Saturn goes into Capricorn beginning of 2018. And it's like December 29th. Saturn goes into Capricorn. And Pluto's there now, so it has to get all the way to 18 degrees, and that's going to not because it goes retrograde during that time. So it's going to be like a couple of years from now, because what you're doing is you're dealing with the subconscious structure of the relationship, because the subconscious 12th house relationship to your relationship is the 6th house is what I'm saying. Your 6th house is actually what's going on behind the scenes that you may not be aware of. There is a shift and change going on there because Pluto digs up the fears. So there are some fears associated with it. And quite honestly, Pluto's only 3 degrees away from your Chiron there. So you are a little bit unsure, shaky, or insecure about the structure of what the future holds with this person. So what happens is when Saturn gets to that degree, then that's when you're going to, you're definitely having, even Saturn in Sagittarius right now is triggering these issues around travel and adventure and fun. And those are more where your concerns are with it. Like, is this person somebody who's going to have fun or want to go places with you? And is he growing at the same pace and that kind of thing? So you'll really get a better idea of all that at the end of this year, because Saturn's in your house of romance and it goes into Capricorn, which makes you be really aware of, are you getting what you need? And also, he's already trined the energy around Venus and Mercury for you in the last year, and that should have brought up some issues around career, maybe, let me see, more of selfishness, some self-centered issues around career and not paying attention to the romance. But then when Saturn gets into Capricorn at the end of the year, he's going to leave your house of romance. He's going to leave all the Sagittarius energy, which is all this, hey, what's going on? Are we having fun? Is there romance here anymore? What's going on with us? And then he gets into basically the 12th house of your relationship. And then it's going to get down to, do I really get what I need subconsciously from this person? Are my needs being met? Are my fears triggered, or are they quelled by this relationship? And that energy is going to happen. At the same time, you're also coming into a time of heightened awareness around work. You've got Saturn trining your Sun, and then ultimately your Jupiter and your Mars in the next 3 years. So your career, first off, your Sun, though, Saturn's going to trigger your Sun, so there may be a job change for you as well at the end of the year.
I love that. Wow, Shelley, wow, do you talk fast and accurate, and I love you.
You know
so
why?
Much.
Because I got so much information floating through the universe through me. And if I don't talk fast, you don't get it all before I have to end the show, which is now. I'm sorry
Goodbye,
to say.
love it. Love the show. Thank you
all right,
so much.
Thanks so much for the call. And call me for a reading if you want down the road. We'll talk longer. And you can have a recording. Okay.
Absolutely. I get you so much. Bye, love.
Take care, Diane. Bye. Okay, that's the end of the show. Thanks so much for listening to me. I love having you here every week. And please share the show with your friends and family. And don't be shy to talk about astrology, because you know what? It's the direction the universe is heading. Don't be shy. Talk to you later. Talk to you next week. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at Ironwood Rain.